Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into what might be one of the trickiest conversations you have as a certified medical examiner, talking about blood pressure and DOT certification. All right, so here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with the big challenge you face, then break down the official BP stages, talk about navigating those tricky gray areas, and then get into how you can guide drivers to take charge of their health. We'll also touch on documentation and really define your role in all of this.
Okay, let's get right to the heart of it. This is the core challenge for every CME, right? You're looking at a number on a blood pressure cuff, but what you're really looking at is a person's job, their livelihood, balanced against the huge responsibility of public safety. So how do you do it? How do you explain a possible disqualification without that driver immediately shutting down or losing trust in you? That's the million-dollar question. The key is to stop being a gatekeeper and start being a guide. And that's exactly what this explainer is all about, helping you master that role.
So where do you start? Well, building that trust always begins with the facts. Let's get into the official FMCSA guidelines, because you've got to have that objective foundation.
Okay, John, let's take a look at the numbers together. So the federal guidelines are actually pretty clear on this. Here's how it breaks down. If your blood pressure is under 140/90, great, you're good for a full 2-year certification. Now, if it's in that stage 1 range, between 140 and 159, we can give you a 1-year certificate. That gives you some time to work on it. If we get into stage 2, we're looking at a possible 3-month certificate to give you a chance to get it down. But if it's up in stage 3, that's a temporary disqualification. The key word there is temporary.
Okay, but we all know it's not always that black and white, is it? The rules are great, but what about those borderline cases? That's the real gray area, and that's where your communication skills are absolutely critical. How you handle this moment can make or break the whole appointment. All right, so I see your reading is just a little over that 140/90 mark. Look, this is super common. A lot of people have what we call white coat syndrome. You get a little anxious just being here, and boom, the number shoots up. So here's what we're going to do. We have a couple of options. First, I just want you to sit back and relax for a few minutes. We'll chat, and then we'll recheck it. No pressure, pardon the pun. If it's still a bit high, we can talk about a shorter certificate. That way you're still on the road, but you have time to see your own doctor and get things sorted out.
And this right here, this is the pivot point. This is where the magic happens. You're no longer just the person pointing out a problem. You become their coach. You shift from delivering a verdict to handing them a playbook, a game plan for success.
Look, the main goal here is simple. Get these numbers back in a healthy range. And the good news is, there's a ton you can do starting the second you walk out of here. Let's talk about a few things. First, get a home monitor and track your readings. One reading in my office doesn't tell the whole story, but a pattern over time does. Second, watch the sodium. I know it's tough on the road, but it makes a huge difference. Drink more water, less soda and energy drinks. Try to get a little walking in each day, even just 30 minutes. And if your doctor has you on medication, please take it like they told you to. It's honestly your best weapon in this fight.
So giving health advice is a huge part of being that coach. But another part is teaching them how to play the game, right? And that means showing them how to come prepared with the right paperwork. This puts them in the driver's seat, literally and figuratively.
Okay, listen. To help me help you, there are a few things you can bring next time that make a world of difference. If you can get me a list of your current meds, a log of those home blood pressure readings we talked about, and just a simple note from your doctor saying, yep, we're managing this, man, that's gold. That paperwork shows me you're on top of it, and it gives me the documentation I need to certify you for as long as possible.
All right, now for the one we all dread, the toughest conversation. You have to tell a driver they're temporarily disqualified. The secret here isn't to soften the blow so much as it is to combine real, genuine empathy with a crystal clear path forward.
I know this is absolutely not the news you wanted to hear today, and I'm sorry for that. But I need you to hear me on this. This is not the end of the road. This is a temporary pause for safety. You are 100% allowed to come back and get certified as soon as that pressure's down. So let's talk about the mission. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to work with your doctor, get those numbers down, and get back in here. Seriously. I've seen drivers turn this around and get back on the road in just a few weeks.
So when you put it all together, what does it mean? It means your job is so much bigger than what happens in that little exam room. You're obviously a critical piece of the public safety puzzle, but you're also a massive influence on that driver's personal health.
So it really makes you think, right? The question isn't just, are you an examiner?
It's, are you the health advocate that keeps a pro driver on the road for their whole career? When you nail this conversation, you're not just checking a box. You could literally be changing the entire course of their health. Think about that. This one interaction could be the thing that adds years, not just to their career, but to their life.
If you want to keep building up this communication toolkit, we've got more resources and guides from medical examiners over at expressphysicalsllc.com. You know, getting this conversation right isn't just a skill, it's a huge responsibility. That next driver who walks through your door, they aren't just a blood pressure reading. They're a person, a career, a life that you have a unique power to guide. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.